in the area of South Campus at Five Partners Place. And Maureen, you have the slides going there?
I do.
All right.
Here you go.
Up or down?
Just the right pencils.
There we go. Okay. So the purpose of my company is over there on the left side. It's basically to deliver hydrometeorological instrumentation and systems to international agencies. And these include National Weather Service agencies and airport locations. Some of the systems that we delivered as when I was part of Weather Decision Technologies, which is here in Norman also, and I was one of the co-founders of that. And then last year we decided to basically move all the international systems business out from under Weather Decision Technologies. And so that's where this current company came from. And so some of the instrumentation and systems that we've delivered across the top there are airport systems, including Bangkok, Dubai, Bahrain, Abu Dhabi. And then down here are various National Weather Service agencies. And the purpose here is that here in the U.S., we take the weather very much for granted that it's all at our fingertips and it's readily available. And we can look at any radar in the U.S. or any, most surface stations and all that, those kinds of things. But in the developing countries, they don't have that luxury. And so, nor do they really have that expertise in a lot of places. And so what we do then is we are licensing technologies from OU and from other agencies to take out into the other countries that don't have the capabilities to build out these forecast systems on their own. And so we'll go out and we'll say, well, how many weather radars do you have? How many surface stations do you have? What are your main forecast challenges? And develop and architect a system for them and then implement that system using various technologies. And as I said, a lot of them licensed from OU. Here's an example of an airport system that we would deliver. In the bottom corner over here, I'll just go over here to see, there's these instruments and a shelter, and this particular system is for wind shear detection. So when you're coming down, you're landing, or you're taking off, the plane's bouncing all over the place. What we're trying to do is determine the quantity of that wind shear, and then there are thresholds of wind shear where you can either have to do a go-around or you can land, and it's just nasty and bumpy. So these are the types of systems that we deliver to airports as an example. One of the things that we do is in order to determine what a particular agency needs is, over the years we've built up these partnerships with various companies. And so we can go to a location, determine what they need, and then go to the various companies and bring in that instrumentation or that technologies. We have an international business development unit in Arlington, Virginia, up there at the very left corner called the Republic Group. We've been working with them for quite some time now, and they are like the international marketing arm of WDSS, and their claim to fame is 95 reps in 95 countries, something similar. And so that's really important, is that you have a very large representative network in all these countries. One of the, you see up here the two, actually three direct OU people is, one is SIMS at OU, the other is the ARC group. Been working with them to come up with a radar integration solution. And then Snow and Associates, which is John Snow from OU. And I've worked with him on quite a bit on some consulting work. And then there's the other, a few of these really big players, and then a couple that you've probably never heard of. But each one of these companies has got a role in the ability to deliver a meteorological forecast system at these international locations. So I started the company out in January of 2017 out of Weather Decision Technologies. And there's a lot of issues with trying to run these international projects. There's a lot of geopolitical risk where you say, oh, we got the contract, and then all of a sudden the government changes because there's a coup or something, and then all of that goes away. The price of oil is very important because a lot of the customers that we deal with are based in oil-producing countries. And so when oil's $125 a barrel, everybody's spending and building skyscrapers, and then when oil's $28 a barrel, everything crashes and we projects go away and everything that we think might happen is gone. And then there's just competition. When we were at Weather Decision Technologies, we had a really nice niche for these international projects. And that has kind of faded over the past 15 years, actually. And there's a lot of competition for these radar networks and things like that. In fact, we just lost a radar network job that we had for several years to another international company. And so we've kind of lost a little bit of niche. And so like the airport systems is one niche that we currently have right now that we're trying to exploit. And one of the things that is really important in these international deals is where you try to get your rep to have his ear to the ground all the time and know when an agency is coming out with the system. And so that you're the ones that are in there helping write the specs, so when that tender comes out, nobody else can bid on it because you've written the specs behind the scenes. It happens all the time. We've been in that position where we've been the winners and we've been in a position where we've been the losers. And so that's all I have. I think that that's 5.5 minutes plus minus. So thank you.
All right, now we're going to open it up for questions. So, what do you want to know about whether the whole?
And I will say, go ahead, sorry.
What can we do as a community to help support your endeavor? Is there any obstacles or?
Never close the weather center. People who meteorologists are strong. Because, I mean, we're lucky in that anything that has to do with weather industry, we have a mecca of potential employees across the street at all levels. And so that's really important. So most of the time there's not a shortage of people that are looking for a job in meteorology here in Norman. And so I think that's really important, is that whole meteorological community people coming out of school. I know that there's been a lot of talk in Million Cups meetings about how do you maintain and keep people here in Norman. And one of them is the meteorology program and the meteorology opportunities that are here locally.
Do you use the resources of the Foreign Commercial Service in helping market the project?
Yes and no. We have, and actually there's actually a conference coming up in Mexico, which is the Mexican Petroleum Conference, and we're using the Department of Oklahoma Department of Commerce that has links to the Mexican version of the Oklahoma Department of Commerce. And so that's one way that we can use the international.
I mean, the U.S. Foreign Commercial Service.
What we did is the Republic Group, who is our international marketing arm, to take care of all of that.
Other than the people from the Weather Center, what links to the Norman community do you use?
Well, certainly Startup 405 in DC, because we're using office space for them, and also Bank of Oklahoma, where we're at. So there are a few links here and there that are still within the Norman community. Yes, sir.
Could you speak a little bit more about the competitive market? You mentioned losing contracts and various issues. What are others bringing to the market that gives them a competitive advantage? Is that also coming out of research institutions like higher education? Where's that?
It is. So there are really competitors in the radar or the radar integration, weather radar integration space, which is what we try to excel at. Really our other radar manufacturers, so the people that manufacture the radars have gotten into that space. We lost the Indonesian contract to the radar manufacturer. There's in like the numerical weather prediction space, there is the UK Met Office, and so and Meteor France is another company. And a lot of these companies are actually subsidized by the government, right? And so in the U.S., it's not really fair to do that, but in the other countries, they don't abide by U.S. trade rules, and so they can go in and Meteor France, for example, goes in and they'll loan the government $50 million, and then they say, but you have to use our equipment and our staff and all that. And so it's really tough. And so those are probably two areas that are difficult to compete in. We're still trying to keep that small niche area out there that nobody else can do at this point. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I was curious how big your staff is. You do a lot of contract work.
Right now I've got 2 full-time people, plus myself. And then I have about probably 5 people that are contracted with me on the side for various projects, so as needed. And I'll just mention the other thing that I do that maybe if anybody needs any help is consulting work. So for cases and things like that. For instance, right now I'm working on a case where a lightning strike at a telephone pole in Idaho caused a lightning strike maybe hit a telephone pole in Idaho. It caused a fire, wiped out about 3,000 acres, including several people's homesteads and livestock and all of that. And so then the idea that if you try to go back and reconstruct the weather for any kind of litigation that happens. And so if anybody in here knows attorneys that are looking for weather expertise for those types of cases, just please let me know. So, give me that. Oh, sure.
Do you have an internship program?
We actually, not yet, but I was just talking with Patricia, and also we have OCAST in our office, and their internship starts in November, and I certainly plan on hopping on board with that.
My question is about the rationale for spinning this off, because it seems that the previous larger company would provide some stability and continuity that would counterbalance some of these challenges that we're facing now.
Yes. So the issue is that when we were with Weather Precision Technologies, the issue is that the international business is extremely lumpy, right? So, I mean, one year you're doing really well, and the next year you're not paying the bills, and then the next year you're in between. And so it's very lumpy. It's not the type of business model you can use to do organic growth, along a nice curve, right? I mean, so you got maybe other revenue that's doing this, then you've got the international overlaid on that that's doing this. And so as a company, we just decided that WDT was better off getting that lumpiness, so to speak, out of the company and focusing more on forecast services and big data and processing and data services and those kinds of things that grow better. And so we just decided, well, I'll try this on the side for a while and I'll see if I can make it work. And if it doesn't work, I'll go do something else.
So your intention was to spin out the high-risk part. That was the intention of it.
I'm sorry.
Your intention was to take out the high-risk part. And
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And like I said, I mean, if I can make this work, then it can be pretty lucrative because the contracts, these international contracts are not small. And in fact, right now I'm working with Lockheed Martin where WDSS is a prime for Lockheed Martin for a wind shear system that would go into Indonesia. And it's $2.5 million. And so if we can actually make that work, then for WDSS, then that's really nice profit at the end of the year. I mean, at the end of the delivery. So, but it's real risky, and you gotta save the drain, right, to make it through the hard times, and hope that get out the other side where you have something else coming out the funnel.
So the follow-on, I wasn't clear how much of the business is the sale of the equipment versus follow-on. So is it relational that you keep working with that same country or is it a one-time you sell it?
No, it's usually if you can get your foot in the door with something, then there's always other projects that you can also work on. But most of the time what we'll do is we'll deliver a system that will have like a 1-year warranty on it for software bug fixes, hardware, whatever. And then you try to get these ongoing contracts after that are a certain percentage of the original sale. So for continued warranty work and upgrades and that kind of thing. Yes, sir. Am I going over my time?
No.
Go ahead.
What's preventing the manufacturers of radar equipment from going into this niche themselves?
So the issue with that is that with the exception of a German company called Celex, The other companies have not invested in doing the actual integration of all of their radars. They're more interested in building a radar and making sure that it's a really nice radar, right? So that's where they focus their R&D is. It's in the actual radar manufacturing and not necessarily the networking of radars.
So you mentioned both hardware and software. Do you guys develop software to network those together, or are you selling that?
Well, so what we're doing is we will help determine, for instance, if you had a clean slate, we'll help determine what radars they need and how many and all of that kind of thing. And then we have the software or licensed software from either WT or OU to go in and put that software in on the networks and do all the networking and all the display capabilities for the radars. So anything else? Well, thank you so much for your time.